Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine a power so immense and absolute that it can elevate entire nations to the pinnacle of wealth or reduce them to a financial wasteland without firing a single bullet. This force requires no armies and needs no elections, yet quietly dictates every aspect of your daily existence. Everything is governed by its rules, from the price of your morning coffee to the retirement fund you desperately try to build. You have never voted for it. You may not even know their names, yet every loan, every price tag, and every major dream you pursue is shaped by their hand. This, my friends, is the invisible empire of central banks. To grasp the scope of their power, we must redefine money itself. Money is not just stacks of paper. It's not just numbers glowing on a screen. Money is control. Money is the ultimate authority that decides what wealth truly means. That authority was taken from you a long time ago. Our story begins in 1694, a cold year when the seeds of this modern control system were sown. Following years of brutal and costly wars with France, England was on the brink of bankruptcy. The crown's treasury was empty. Further tax increases would have triggered a revolt. During this time of royal desperation, a group of shrewd, wealthy private merchants made a subtle yet profound offer. "Your Majesty," they proposed, "we will lend you the money you need, but on one condition. You must grant us sole authority to issue the nation's currency." Thus, the Bank of England, the first modern central bank, was born. This was not a coup, it was a conspiracy. It was a financial revolution. From that day forward, the power to create money ceased to be a tool of the people or the elected government. It became a weapon wielded by those who controlled credit and the destiny of debt. As the British Empire expanded across the globe, this financial model spread alongside it, binding colonies with more than just military might. It bound them with the chains of credit and debt mechanisms. Like a domino, the system gained strength with every nation it consumed. Centuries later, the same pattern repeated itself on the other side of the Atlantic in the United States. A series of brutal bank panics and financial crashes at the turn of the 20th century destabilized the young nation. When a power vacuum emerged, the most powerful bankers seized their opportunity. It was 1910. The location, Jekyll Island, a secluded, highly secret barrier island off the coast of Georgia. This story may sound like a conspiracy theory, but every word of it is documented historical fact. Behind closed doors, the blueprint for the nation's financial destiny was drafted. The men in that room represented the pinnacle of American wealth. Partners from J.P. Morgan, Rockefeller family agents, and Kuhn, Loeb representatives. 3 years later, in 1913, the Federal Reserve System, Fed, was established. The United States formally handed over the power to print money and set interest rates to a private consortium cleverly hidden behind the facade of a public institution. This is the genius of central banking, to appear public, yet operate entirely under the influence of private interests. Since then, America's wealth has been steered not by Congress, but by unelected officials in those inner rooms. Over the next century, central banks became the silent architects of the modern world. They learned to manipulate the entire global economy with a single tool: interest rates. When they lower rates, money becomes cheap, credit flows freely, and markets boom. Money becomes cheap, credit flows freely, and markets boom. Everyone feels momentarily rich. When they raise rates, however, the world freezes. Credit dries up. Debt obligations tighten. Businesses stall and shrink. Dreams die at the rate the banks decide. Yet most people never question who decides these critical numbers or why. We are simply told that these are market conditions, and we are expected to accept our fate. However, here is the dark truth. Central banks don't just react to crises. They actively create the conditions for them. The severity of the Great Depression, the depth of the 2008 financial collapse, and the 2020 liquidity crisis were all amplified and, in some cases, intentionally triggered by decisions made behind closed doors. Their interventions rarely calm the chaos. They merely ensure it escalates to the next, more dangerous level. Now let's make this personal. One constant lie we are told is about inflation. Inflation is not an accident. It's a silent, continuous transfer of wealth from the working public, people like you who save, to the financial elite who control the system. Each time money is printed, the value of your bank balance and hard-earned savings is quietly eroded without your permission. When the gold standard was eliminated in 1971, the last physical restraint on this transfer was removed. Where does this wealth go? When central banks purchase government debt and inject trillions of new dollars into the system, the money first flows into the financial assets of the elite, such as stocks, real estate, and tangible assets. Their wealth explodes. Meanwhile, those who rely on a fixed salary or modest savings get poorer as the value of their currency drops. It is a perfect insidious loop. The government borrows. The central bank prints money to finance the borrowing. The resulting inflation acts as a hidden tax paid by the general public. We live in a world where money is infinite, but your time, labor, and energy are not. Each newly printed unit of currency represents a dilution of your life's effort. With global debt surpassing 300 trillion, the illusion of control is all that's holding this house of cards together. But once again, history whispers a warning. Every empire that relied solely on printed promises eventually collapsed under its own weight. Rome, Weimar, and now the 21st century dollar system. Central banks know this collapse is coming. That is why they are preparing the final phase of control. Central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. This is more than just a digital upgrade. It's programmable money. Every transaction will be tracked and analyzed, and can be instantly approved or denied based on your compliance. No cash, no privacy, no escape. They sell it as innovation and efficiency, but it's nothing less than perfected control. So what is the ultimate lesson here? Money does not equal freedom. Money is permission. The ones who grant that permission, the central banks, do not answer to you. Their sole mandate is to keep their system alive. History shows us that every true financial revolution starts the same way. People begin to ask questions. They lose faith in the old order. The rise of gold, cryptocurrency, and decentralized finance are all symptoms of the loss of faith in the architects of this quiet empire. Maybe the next era won't be controlled by central banks. Maybe it will be built by networks, communities, and technologies that cannot be shut down or printed into oblivion. Until that day comes, remember this truth. The real power in the world is not held by armies or presidents. It is held by those who print the money that funds them. Will you remain asleep while that control is silently taken from you? Or will you wake up and follow the financial legends who learn to protect their wealth from this invisible empire? The choice is yours.